Who should Mike Sullivan start in goal tonight? 70% of people who have voted say Nedeljkovic. My answer would have been different if Jarry came in and played well.
Yeah.
But we just heard the goal call there from Brian McDonough of ESPN. Tristan Jarry on the power play just blindly rims the puck around, and Karlsson's not looking for it. I'm always here to criticize Erik Karlsson. I don't put that so much on him as I do on Tristan Jarry. You weren't rushed. You weren't pressured. He's probably rusty. That's got something to do with it. I didn't think he was good. I thought Ned stunk. And I hate to say it because they're here. They're in a position where they could make the playoffs because of what Nedeljkovic has done down the stretch. But he was not good on Saturday. And then Jarry was bad in relief. I don't know that there's a right answer here you're Mike Sullivan.
There's not.
I don't have faith in either of them tonight.
The only answer that you can probably get from this is if they do start Nedeljkovic, it's a bigger conversation for the offseason for Tristan Jarry. You can't count on your goaltender who you paid in the offseason.
Yeah.
$5 million a year over 5 years. You can't go, and if it's neck and neck between him and the backup of not playing well and having to decide. If you decide it's the backup, then it's a huge question for the offseason. It's a huge question of what you do with Tristan Jarry. And that's a situation you didn't want to be in, and you could kind of see it whenever that contract was dealt. That it's like, hell, this guy, doesn't come through in the big moments. And it's happening again.
It is, and they just needed him to make a big save. Or, frankly, they needed him not to just cough the puck up to one of the biggest Penguin killers of all time in Brad Marchand. There was no threat there. He created the threat based on his stupidity. We talked about that last week. When you have a goaltender that is considered to be a good puck-handling goaltender, that always scares me because sometimes you do a little bit too much, and I don't even know what the hell's going through Jarry's head there on that play. Nedeljkovic gives up a terrible rebound on the second goal out. The first one goes right through him. The biggest point here is this. If they're going to play defense as terribly as they have the last two games against Detroit and against Boston, it doesn't matter who you have in there. You're leaving them out to dry. You need to play a more structured game tonight. You need to get back to being the team you were for the first 8 games of that 10-game stretch. And if you do, you're going to limit the high-danger scoring chances, and you're going to give your goaltender a fighting chance. Your point is a good one, though. The first sign of weakness from your backup, you should have full confidence that you hand the net over to a guy that's being paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
And you should expect him to run with it, and you should have it. Shoot, man, you should just have confidence that he's going to go out there and give you an honest effort. And it's not to say he's not trying. I don't mean effort like that, but an honest performance, and he couldn't even do that. He could not even do that. I'll say I'd like to see Nedeljkovic tonight because while he has not had a great NHL career, he had a good season in Carolina where he was on the all-rookie team. Apart from that, he's been just not a good NHL goaltender. He only played 15 NHL games last year for a reason. He is who he is. But the scars of Tristan Jarry run deep on me, man. He played in Game 7 against the Rangers in that playoff series where they scored the overtime winner, but he wasn't 100%. I don't put that on him. I give him credit actually for gutting that one out. But the Islanders series before that, down the stretch the last few years, if you look at his post-All-Star break numbers through his career, he's a horrendous post-All-Star break goaltender. And those are the things I've seen with my two eyes. I've not seen Nedeljkovic be a bad goaltender. Not really. We did the other night, but not for a prolonged period. I've seen that from Jarry. So I'm going with Ned.
Yeah.
And I'm doing so with my fingers crossed. What do you think? 412-928-9370. And if you are banging the table for Tristan Jarry, we're not going to scream at you here. We want to know why. If you are one of the people that voted and said, yes, I'd like to see Tristan Jarry get the net tonight, tell us why. 412-928-9370. While we wait for your calls, and we'll talk to you coming up in the next segment, now you're back to scoreboard watching. And that point that they gave up to Detroit the other day could come back to really bite them in the backside. At the time, we were saying, all right, well, at least you found a way to get 2 points, and Erik Karlsson, you redeemed yourself. Erik Karlsson cost them maybe a playoff spot for a lot of different reasons this year, but specifically that game. Detroit is up on you now by 1 point. and they've got Montreal twice. Now, Montreal's been playing better hockey, but Detroit's a minus 210 favorite tonight at home. You don't like your odds there? You'd be tied with them right now if you didn't give them that extra point. And if you won out and they won out, you've got the damn tiebreaker. They screwed themselves. So you're rooting against Detroit. The Islanders are playing New Jersey. If they lose in regulation in New Jersey and the Penguins win out, they'd beat New York, then the final game of the regular season, the Penguins would have the tiebreaker over the Islanders, and they would get in the division slot. But that's a lot that needs to happen, and I don't think that the Devils are going to beat the Islanders tonight. The Islanders have been playing really good hockey. And then one more score you got to keep an eye on. Washington takes on Boston. Boston, a minus 155 favorite in Washington tonight. But the Penguins, all told, right now have about a 12% chance of making the playoffs.
12%. Jeez.
And look, I'm making predictions as I'm going through here. Like, I don't think Montreal's going to beat Detroit. I don't think the Devils are going to beat the Islanders. I also didn't think that the Red Wings were going to beat Toronto the other night or that Washington was going to beat Tampa. So you never know.